So I thought I'd just do a video on the homemade log splitter I made. So I made this a few years ago. Sort of use it for domestic use, so we'd burn quite a lot of wood, probably between us all about 20 cube a year. So I thought, well, we were using a log splitting axe, and I thought, well, obviously we got a tractor, so I was like, well, let's build a hydraulic log splitter. So this is built around a hydraulic cylinder that was off a JCB loader, I think off an old 3CX. So the cylinder inside is 2 inch, and the actual diameter of it's a fair thing, it's a good 5 inch or so. So it's built around that, a H girder that I picked up from the local blacksmith, and yeah, so that's my cutting wedge, obviously. Now, when I originally built it, I just had the point, and obviously it would get trapped in the logs, so I welded these bits of angle iron on just to force the log apart, and that works really well. So the idea of this was that it would be able to split a 600mm length log. So the fire does take a 600mm log in theory, and just get the tape measure out. And the idea was that I wanted to split a log of that length. So it actually split about a 700mm log. Now, I'm no engineer, so it is slightly agricultural looking. If I was to build it again, for sure there'd be things I would do differently. One of them would be this plate here. So I welded this plate up, and I had to borrow a welder. I had to go to someone else's house to use a welder that was more powerful than mine. Mine's only 140 amp welder, so I can't weld this. So I built this plate, and then to get it on here, I had to cut a hole in the H girder, drop the plate in, or drop this slider in, slid it up, and then I could weld that cutting point on. And then obviously I had to patch the hole that I cut up. So, I mean, if I was to do it again, I would obviously bolt that and have it less bodge looking, but it does work really well, and it's never broken or cracked or anything like that. At the end, just reinforced it, so obviously got all that force, and then I built this little tray where you can put your logs. So the other issue I got is that if you put a massive log on, when you split it, it can force the log against the frame, and obviously it's bent it a bit. Not a disaster, it's just a bit of a pain really. So I mounted it to this pallet. It never used to be on that pallet, but then it was a bit awkward moving it around with the pallet forks. You can't really pick it up from the bottom because I've welded some angle iron on underneath just to strengthen it, so that runs under the H girder. So I did carry it with a strap on here, and then one day it fell and it landed on my blooming lever and bent that a bit. So I thought, bugger it, and I bolted it to this old pallet, and it's actually really handy. So you can get your pallet forks in underneath and lift it up and carry it about, put it wherever you want. It's coupled up to this little Kubota tractor, and obviously just a two-way splitter. So a great splitter. It's a little bit slow. I'll show you in a minute when I get it going. It's a little bit slow because the diameter of the cylinder is so large. But generally you can use it on your own, but 2 people, 1 person stands at the end, catches the wood and puts it into the barrow. So we do have quite big wood burners, so we don't have to split it into tiny little bits. So yeah. Now, I'm looking at modifying this. This is where I might need your help to give me suggestions. So I want to put a table lift up, because if you're putting your big log up there, obviously it's it can be a hell of a weight. And we can't use a tractor because that's on the powering the splitter. So I'm thinking about building a table that comes down and you can roll your logs on and lift it up. So I've seen the tables that obviously have a hydraulic cylinder underneath. I could probably do that relatively easily by tapping it into that valve block. But then I have seen these mechanical ones. So as you pull the cylinder back, it lifts the table up. So I was thinking about doing that, try and make life a bit easier. So I'll probably take another video of when I build that. So I'm just thinking about it in a minute. I'm probably going to go down the mechanical lifting table, just because it saves me going out and buying cylinders and valve blocks. I could always upgrade it to a cylinder in time, but I might just try the concept with a mechanical mechanism. Okay, I'll get a log and we'll have a look at it splitting. Okay, so I put 2 logs on. So I've just taken these out of the wood pile, so wouldn't normally split this, but for demonstration purposes. So it's just short 11-inch, 300mm-ish. So that will go in the fire fine. It's a lump of beech, I think, and that would keep burning for several hours. This one here is a similar size, but it's real knotty. They're sort of part dry as well, so they'll be fairly tough bits of wood. So I'll have a go at splitting those. You can sort of see that if you're doing this on your own, when the wood splits, you've got to try and catch it, stop it falling on the floor. So I'm hoping that if I build a table, it will act as a bit of a wood store holder while she's splitting. Okay, right. Let's go in the tractor. Door's locked. So I normally rev it a little bit, just past 1,000. Don't trap your fingers. So it's pretty gnarly that, but yeah, split it no problem. This here is quite handy for putting your bits of wood. So like I said, it is quite dry, it is pretty hard. So normally, like I said, I wouldn't split this. Normally you got a hand free, you can obviously catch the wood as it comes off. No problem. So yeah, I think if I have a table, it could lift the log up. And then you can have your wood on here, and as you're working, you've got somewhere to store your wood. So if you put a big ring on there, you're going to get a hell of a lot of logs off, and you've got nowhere to put it. So yeah, I'll put it into the barn and have a go at fabricating something. So in terms of this log splitter, the whole of this log splitter, I haven't spent much on it really. I got this cylinder for about 150 pound off a local farmer. The valve block and pipes, another maybe 200 pound. 100 pounds worth of steel laying around, and that's about it. But yeah, I should be able to make it better anyway.